You all, we are not licensed professionals. We are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again.
And I'm back. We are back for another episode of the Friendship University podcast. To the F, to the U, to the P.
ODCAST.
Period. Yes, we're back for another episode. I'm back, actually, for another episode. Kristen, per usual, keeps the show running when I'm not around, or more so when she's not around.
Oh, hey, we both been not around.
We both been not around.
Malik is secretly trying to get out of this. I'm just waiting for the day that he tells me.
You've literally been gone for like 5 whole decades.
Then he tells me,
don't listen to her. She hasn't been in the state of Georgia for the past, how many weekends have you been in Georgia this past, month? None?
I feel like that question is erroneous.
Let's see here. I don't think you were here a single weekend in November. And that's not the same.
I was here the first weekend.
Oh. Okay, the first.
Because wait. When was
No, you weren't here the first weekend. Because didn't you do Flog Now the first weekend? Or is that the second weekend?
I was here the first weekend. Camp Flog Now was the second weekend.
Either way. But yeah, we're back together, jointly here together. Kristen's on to me because I definitely was just I should just quit. But I feel that way about a lot of things. I feel like I should just quit. I should just quit my job. I should just quit being an uncle. I should just quit being a son. I should just quit, just pack my bags and just go somewhere.
What are you going to do?
Okay, that's a good question. Let's give me a quick question.
If you quit everything, every title you currently hold right now, if you were able to just quit it, press the button and quit, what would you do? Where would you go? What would you be doing?
I'd probably just
except the title of human being, a live human being, right?
I would probably go backpacking, in Europe or something like that. Just wing it, or backpack America, I guess. I don't know. Just backpack somewhere, go in there blind, have a few items like my toothbrush and some clothes and all that stuff, and just wing it. Just disappear. You know what I'm saying?
Fall off the map. You think you got what it takes to stay in hostels and stuff like that?
No.
All hostels.
But I do have what it takes to download Grindr and find someone who will let me stay there. I'll be safe. I'm not new to this.
You're not. I mean, you are a pretty statuesque man, so.
Actually, there was this person on TikTok. I don't remember his name. This is so long ago, but he did this experiment where he allegedly went across the United States and only stayed with people he met on Grindr, and I was just like, you're trying to get murdered. Because he was also documenting it, and I'm just I feel like if someone wanted to murder you,
I feel like there's a law of probability there. If you do it so many times, it's just bound to not end up well.
Right. I think he's. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if he's still. I don't know. I hope he made it. But yeah, I probably would just disappear and backpack around the world somewhere.
That's fair.
Implying I have money to stay in places that are not ghetto.
Well, I think hostels get a bad name. I've done a couple of hostels in my day, and they were actually pretty nice.
Nothing about the name hostel sounds right in my head. It just sounds violent.
It's the
that movie is awful. Not in a bad movie, but in a I can never watch it again.
Yeah.
The heel part, I threw up. I had to turn the movie off for like a solid like 30 minutes. I was like, nope.
I
It's
didn't
almost
even
as bad
watch.
as Would You Rather with the eyeball.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Actually, the eyeball might be worse.
Oh, my God. I forgot about that. We've watched some sick movies in our time.
If you have any sick movies to recommend that's not Saw, please let us know. Because I'm down for a sickening time.
Yeah. That's right up his alley.
Just not Saw, because I just can't do it.
No Saw, and we're over it. I mean, we get it. Okay, people don't appreciate life. You gotta teach them a lesson. Blah blah blah. I want to be God so bad. Whatever. Like, just do you. Don't worry about nobody else. Spend all this time and all this money. You could have actually been given to people. You know what's sick about Saul is he spent all this money and time trying to teach people to value life instead of helping the people who do value life and didn't have a lot of money or a lot of assets to actually value their life. You could have been feeding the hungry.
So he's
you
like
could have
Batman.
been getting yes!
He's literally like
He
Batman.
is Batman.
Batman rather spend his money punching
Vengeance!
clowns in the face opposed to using the money to, I don't know, buy some homeless shelters, put some food in people's
Batman
mouths.
could have actually rebuilt Gotham 3 times over.
From the ground up. Yeah, Batman,
And
he's like, fuck it. I need a really expensive car and a bat suit.
Speaking of, that just made me think. I don't know if you heard about, there was this home in Virginia that police had a search warrant, and as they were walking up to the home, it blew up.
I saw it this morning.
People were like, that's Gotham City.
That has to be Gotham. That is literally Gotham. They were trying to, he said no evidence. Listen, if it got bad enough where like I was ever being like the police were gonna raid my home, I'd probably also blow the bitch up. If it's that bad, if you're about to bust down this door, I mean, it's just going downhill.
It's the fact that they were walking up to the door. It just boom, it just blew up. Oh gosh, it's not funny. I hope nobody was injured. I didn't really read into the story, but that's crazy. Yeah, so got a couple of things to talk about this week before we get into the actual discussing.
Before you get there, this is like the second time we've not talked about how we're doing.
Oh God,
she don't be giving a fuck about me. She just be keeping it pushing.
Let me tell you. So I'm giving you the best that I got. I am congested. Apologies if you hear it and if I sound nasally. Something is happening. I don't know if it's seasonal changes or what's going on, but your girl I'm yet trying to hold on. And because Miki and I have not been able to get an episode out together for the last few weeks, I really wanted to pull through for, my melodic Miki, my favorite co-host, and get this episode out for you all. So let's rewind a little bit. How are you doing, Miki? How's your last 7 days been? I know it's been longer than 7 days, but how's it been?
I'm Gucci. I don't have a lot to report on. I got my car back after Bambi decided to try to commit suicide on her.
You, Bambi.
She will be found, and you will be dealt with.
You, Bambi.
So got my car back, which made me really happy. I didn't realize how much I missed that car. Speaking of vehicles, actually, this is what's been going on in the past few weeks.
Oh,
Enterprise has tried to kill me 3 times. And I should have let them kill me. I should have let them try. So the first car I got was a Dodge Charger. For some reason, that car was it would just vibrate violently, at highway speeds. I go 55, I'm shaking, okay, making my fucking muffin top shake. Okay, I wasn't appreciating that, so I took it back to Enterprise. They're okay, we'll give you this Jeep Gladiator, which is
I don't know what a Jeep Gladiator is.
It's like a Wrangler, but the pickup version of it.
Oh, that's the one. Okay.
Yeah, ugly as shit.
It's not that ugly.
Yeah, it's a little ugly. I like the SUV version. I do not like the pickup version of it. Anyway.
Oh, it's a pickup. Yeah. Right.
I have nothing against pickups. I
no.
Pickups,
I thought you said the pickup is kind of ugly.
It is ugly, but got that. It's some reason the tire was losing a lot of psi. Every day it was 5 or 7 psi lower than it was the day before, and they're big tires. They're supposed to be 40 psi at normal time. So It took a few days for it to get there, but I was noticing it. And I would inspect the tire to see if there was a hole or anything like that. Couldn't find shit, so I took it to Enterprise. This girl looks me in my face and she says, "Well, you could take it to Pep Boys and replace it."
I don't own this car, girl. What you mean I can take it to Pep? So So you got a company card I'm going to take to Pep Boys?
That's what I said. I was like, I can take your card to Pep Boys and replace. She's like, yeah, and we'll reimburse you. And I was just like, I was playing along because I wasn't going to do that shit. I was just like, how long does it take? She's like, oh, the reimbursement's normally, it takes about 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, absolutely not. So I was like, give me another car right now. And she gives me a Dodge Ram. So my third Chrysler vehicle, which mind you, I drive a Chrysler vehicle. Like I drive a Grand Cherokee already, which is a Chrysler or Stellantis is what they call it now. It is that brand of vehicle. So, maybe it's just bad luck. I don't know. I still love my Jeep. But anyway, so they give me a Dodge Ram. And you would think everything's going to go peachy clean. The car looks fine. My car's still in the shop. So I'm like, okay, this will do for now. One, the car smelled like, no offense, it smelled like construction worker.
Wow.
That's no offense to construction workers. What are those blue collar people, white collar people? Shout out to y'all. Well, my dad was in construction. No disrespect, but y'all be stinking. Y'all be outside all day.
Smell like outside.
You smell like outside.
It smells like outside.
I feel like that's not offensive. It's true. You're outside all day. But anyway,
you smell rugged.
You smell like a man. Okay. Or a girl boss.
Or a woman.
Either one. Or they. Anyway. Okay. So, everything was going well. And then one night I was driving home and this thing came up saying service airbags now.
Wow.
And I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to hold you. I'm not even going to impress you.
What do you mean service airbags now? Do airbags have a warrant? Do airbags need to be serviced like oil changes? I thought they just deployed when they needed to deploy.
I didn't decide to Google it because I was where my mind went instantly was just like, oh, bitch, I'm about to get paid. Because I was just like, all I need is to get hit, not
Airbag,
die,
not deploy,
and I could sue the piss out of Enterprise and Dodge. I was like, I'm about to never work a day in my life. But then it also dawned on me that, if that airbag doesn't deploy, there's a chance I won't be around to enjoy that money.
Okay.
But then I thought, I won't be around, but I can also make sure that everyone else around me gets that money. But then I thought, I want that money. So I took the car back and they gave me something else. Another Dodge Ram, funny enough.
Wow.
So that was my experience with Enterprise. Like I said, for a split second there, I really thought I should just wrap this thing around a tree. And then if these airbags don't deploy, it's going to be money. But I was like, I also might be a part of that tree. So my intrusive thoughts did not win that round.
Good. 1
point Malik, 7 points intrusive thoughts. Outside of that, I just want to go ahead and give a special little... I don't want to say farewell because that sounds sad, but I did lose a family member. My aunt Debbie did pass away a little unexpectedly to an extent. Not this past Sunday, but the Sunday. Wait, was it the past Sunday? No, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before that. So yeah, R.I.P. Aunt Debbie. She was the Mary Kay queen.
Mary Kay. Did she have a Cadillac?
She had something. It was pink. She did have it.
Come
it was
on,
pink enough for
Cadillac.
She did Mary Kay my entire life, and I've been to many Mary Kay parties.
Wow.
And one of the requests was for us to wear pink ties and like pink whatever for her funeral. Yeah. So, just wanted to shout out Aunt Debbie. R.I.P. to my queen. But yeah, outside of that, I'm doing good. Loki's doing good. Oh, one last thing, forgot. I finished my workout challenge, and don't let my slim figure fool you that I did lose 13 pounds.
Come on, slim thick queen.
Okay, slim, and I also gained 2 pounds of muscle.
Come on,
so,
body T. She's giving.
I'm proud of myself, mind you.
Skin clear.
Period. Always clear.
Haircut is always on fleek. Voice
now
on
you're just
10.
lying. Now you're just making up lies.
Your haircut really do. You don't go a long time without getting haircuts. Not that I've noticed.
I need a haircut currently. I feel like.
I mean, but it don't look bad. I've seen bad.
Oof, tragic.
That pandemic and you.
Oh yeah, the pandemic. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, whatever.
And then when you was like, I'm going bald.
No. That was after the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so that's been my past few weeks. So eventful, but at the same time not eventful. Oh, things keep popping back in my head. I also saw Godzilla -1 over the weekend. It's really, really good. And I'm not saying that as like a Godzilla movie. It's just a really good movie, period. Okay. Like if you want a good, heartfelt story about like family, but you also want a giant lizard fucking shit up, go see Godzilla
Like,
minus one.
if you're someone who hasn't seen all the Godzilla movies, can you go see Godzilla 1?
Yeah, yeah. It's like a reboot. It's so, there's American Godzilla and then there's Japanese Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's Japanese Godzilla, but they rebooted everything, so it's like a brand new Godzilla, brand new story. But it's really good. At the very end, I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm just gonna say someone in my theater, a few people in my theater, actually like started up and like stood up and started clapping. Like it's really good. Like it's. I'm not gonna say it would win Picture of the Year, but I can definitely see it being in there because it's that good. It's a really good movie, so definitely encourage you to check that out. Same thing with Beyonce's Renaissance movie. It was a very empowering movie. It was very well produced. Of course, it's Beyonce; she's gonna put her foot in it. So also a good time. Just going to go ahead and shout out AMC South Lake 24. Our 1 p.m. showing ate that mute challenge, period.
We don't shout out without a ad. These people have to be sponsors.
I had to shout out my auditorium because we ate that mute challenge. But ate it. Okay? Nope.
Shout out your theater then. Shout out to the theater that you all were in. If you want to know what theater it was, sponsor us.
But yeah, that's how things have been. So how are you?
I'm good. I said I'm doing a little congestion. I've been a little bit extra tired today. I'm someone who doesn't get sick often, and when I do, I can feel it trying to like overtly attack my immune system. I guess because it's so good, it's like gotta be something that's gonna try to break that. So I will fight to the death. So I pumped myself up with some vitamins. Like this morning I was way more tired and way more congested than I am right now. But, just got to get rest, pump yourself with some vitamins, get yourself back together. But outside of that, I have been traveling. I was in LA for a little bit. That was nice. I went to Seattle to visit a friend. I spent Thanksgiving up there. Because my family decided to take, well, not my family, but my mom and her husband decided to take a cruise to Aruba. So,
Period.
they was like, peace out. The Blue Ivy, like, peace.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, girl, live your life, I guess. You retired. I'm not going to be upset. This was one of the first holidays, though, especially Thanksgiving, that I haven't got to spend with my family. So it was really interesting. I probably have not spent the holiday since maybe college. And even then, I think at some point during the holiday I saw them. Maybe just not on the actual day, but so that was fun. I do like Seattle a lot. Ended up getting a lot more cultural tours because for those of you who don't know, Seattle was a predominantly black city for a very long time until they were pushed out. So my friend happened to live in the Africana district, so there was just a lot of the Jimi Hendrix who were from Seattle and the Berry Gordy's and just different things like that. There were a lot of centers out there and they had like a lot of libraries and stuff like that. So I will say, so my form of rebellion and breaking the law is getting library cards in other cities because you're technically not supposed to. You're supposed to be a resident of that city. But Mama got 5 states under her belt and multiple counties in those states. I got 3 counties in Georgia right now.
The feds are going to get you.
Oh, God, don't go. Trump is still free.
They gonna get you before they get him.
Come get me because I like to check out books.
They gonna get you way before they get him.
I got a Seattle library card while I was out there. I was like, yeah, baby, I'm
They gonna play
here.
this in court and they gonna throw no book at you.
They gonna lock me up like that.
Lock you
up.
They
locked that woman up for lying about her address so that boy could go to a better school.
They're gonna throw you straight into the jail.
I'm gonna be under the jail. If they try to, do me like they've done black women before, Jussie Smollett said it best on the stand. If I get taken into custody, I did not kill myself. I do not have no will to kill myself. I am not suicidal. I do not have a will to kill myself. So, I just like to get library cards. They're cute. Like, the Seattle one has, Mount Rainier on it, Mount Rainier on it, and they have, like, trees. It's cute. It's just like, yeah. So, that's my form of rebellion. But had a very good time. Spent some time with my godson. He's toddlering. I'll say that. Baby's vocal. He's got things to say. He doesn't have the words to say them. So his action of choice is screaming. But that's okay. Because we feel our feelings around here. There's a book that we like to read called Who Upset the Mouse or something like that. And then we go through it and we're like, the mouse is upset. The mouse is crying, blah, blah, blah. It's okay for the mouse to cry and da-da-da-da. And then we go through that and he kind of calms down a little bit. And we kind of go on with our day. He's super smart. He is learning Spanish and English. And he goes to an immersion school where they only speak Spanish to him. And yeah, super cute. And so his favorite word is La Luna. So whenever he sees the moon, he'll look at the window and be like, La Luna, La Luna.
How old is he?
He is 22 months. He'll be 2 years in February. I have to say 22 months because that's what the mom says, and I just have to be in respect. He's not yet 2 years. He'll be 2 years.
I'm happy you explained that because the way I was,
I
hate when people do that shit.
I don't know.
Oh, you know, little Isaiah is 74 months old. Girl, what? Shut up.
Yeah, he'll be 2 in February.
I'm gonna start telling. Let me know how many months am I? I'm gonna start telling people how many months I am.
74, maybe.
How many months am I? Continue. I'm gonna figure this out. Give me a second.
You're 324 months.
Plus whatever months.
Wow.
Plus whatever months have passed since your birthday.
You know what's crazy? I was literally Googling how much time. I was like looking for those time calculators. I was like, how much time has passed since I was born?
You're wild. So Malik is officially 324 months.
That's what I start telling people. Hey.
Yeah, but outside of that, just working on trying to, a lot of people feel like the end of the year is kind of like their time to wind down and relax. But for me, the end of the year is considered fourth quarter. It is, if you know anything about like track and field, they save the baton of the fourth quarter to go to the fastest runner. So the person who's at the end is the one who gets the baton and they have to like catch up for everything. So I consider that for my end of the year, and I'm just trying to like make sure that I don't lose momentum. I know that we don't have a lot of weeks left in this year, but I would really love to finish it strong. Speaking of which, you all know you can anticipate episodes from us every Friday, Friendship Fridays.
It's been so long. Ew.
It was the EDM. But we will be taking a break for the holiday season. Jesus. So the last week of December and the first week of January, you will not be getting an episode on that Friday. So the week of Christmas, which I think is on a Monday, you will not be getting an episode that Friday. And the week of New Year's, which I think is also on a Monday, you will not be getting an episode that Friday. We're going to take time to spend with our family and our friends, relax, rejuvenate, relax, relate, release. We're going to just be doing that. And we hope that you understand. And we're going to just take that time to gather ourselves and get together to bring you some very strong content for next year. So, enjoy these episodes as we're leading up to the end of the year because we will be taking a break. I don't know. I think that's it. Can't think of any major things. Outside of that, while I was in Seattle, I did get the opportunity to do a joint episode with another friend, Noelle Singleton. If you have not tuned into that episode, please do. She's a phenomenal speaker, an entrepreneur. We talked a lot about friendship and parenting, which is the first topic we've had. She's one of the first people in my adult life who I've been very close to and fortunate enough to see grow as a parent, be pregnant, do all those things, get married and everything like that. So, tune into the episode for that. And, that's just how I am. I'm good.
Good.
Gucci. It's Gucci. So, let's get into some of these, what's been happening out in the world. Because they be tripping. One, we talked a lot about you gaming over the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. GTA 6 announced for 2025. How you feeling? You got the PS5 now. Do you think there'll be a new PS system out by then?
How's the PlayStation now? My
3
my
years,
immediate
maybe?
thought was they could have kept that trailer.
Why are you telling us so early?
Why are you telling
me
us so
something
early?
that I can't have right now?
Two, I mean, it was like a teaser trailer. I feel like it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't giving too much away, which I appreciate. Like, I don't like things that give too much away. I mean, also don't care about spoilers. But if I'm gonna watch a trailer for something, I normally don't want to get spoiled. But anyway, yeah. Why are you showing us so early? 2025. By that time, girl, we'll have a brand new dictator or something. So, like, I mean, I guess be excited. You know, I know we're electing a new president pretty soon, and that's gonna be ghetto either way. So at least that's something to like distract myself from, the crumbling of our country. But
they said there were talks that there may be options to travel to cities in the game in South Georgia and Florida. I didn't know where this.
I didn't really know. I didn't know these games took place in like real life places. I thought they were like fake cities. I know they're fake cities. So like Vice City's not a real city. Is it the real city? No, it's not a real city.
But I think they do call.
But are they based on
Vice? Because they do call certain cities in like Miami Vice City, even though it's not Vice City.
So they use fake names, but they base it in certain places. Okay, so I didn't know. I guess I don't really pay attention. I like Jesus Christ. To be honest, I didn't really start playing GTA until GTA 5 because my parents did not let me play these games growing up. And because they didn't let me play, I just was never really interested in playing them. Like,
good for them.
Same thing with like Harry Potter, same thing with other things. Like they just were like, you're not doing this, you're not playing this, you're not watching it. So like I just never really had an interest in those things. Now, mind you, when I got older, I was like, I guess I'll go check it out because everyone talks about it. But yeah, I've only ever played GTA 5. Which I love the game. It's a good time. It's a nice way to just like disconnect and like release some stress. But I am excited for the game. Again, I didn't really need the trailer so soon. To answer your question, if I think there'll be another PlayStation by then, I could see them possibly releasing a PlayStation 5 Pro because I think the PlayStation 5 now is 19, 20, 20, 20, I think PlayStation 5 is like 3 or 4 years old now, more or less.
I want to say it either came out.
It came out like right before
pandemic,
COVID. Was it
right before?
So it's probably about like 3 or 4 years old. So I think it's probably about time for a PlayStation Pro now. I mean, mind you, I just got my 5, so I'm like, let's not do that. I'm in shambles over here. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's not do that. But if I guess by that time there probably will be one. But yeah, I'm excited. I know a lot of people get a lot of joy out of those games. I will say the owner of, I think it's Rocksteady, or like the president of Rocksteady brought up kind of like a good point, and it was and a lot of people like read it and like not read it the website, but people read what he said and like took it way out of context. He was basically saying that like for the price people pay for games and the amount of like play time you get out of it, that it's kind of like an unfair like balance, because like a movie, you pay X amount of money and then you see the movie's over. Like you can only get but so much out of that movie. Sure, you could buy the movie at home and then you could rewatch as many times as you want to, but for the most part, you're probably gonna watch it like once or twice and that's it. Same thing with like a song. You can buy a song and then like you can only but do so much in that game or that song. Where on the other hand, like video games, you're paying $70 and people are putting thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hours into these games, especially ones that they care about a lot, like GTA or whatever the case may be. And he was basically saying like, the gaming industry he was implying the gaming industry could possibly get away with like charging people a subscription, like to keep playing their games. A lot of people definitely took that.
You mean like not the subscription where you have like the Nintendo Shop or the PlayStation account,
something like that. Where like, let's say I wanted to play GTA. Let's say I bought GTA.
But you don't necessarily
opposed to buying the game, I would be leasing the game.
So you just pay per,
right? Which I mean, I don't agree with.
Subscription?
Something like that. I don't agree with. I mean, mind you, I get where he's coming from. Like, 'cause it does make sense in the sense of like, yeah, you are getting a lot out of a game. But at the same time, like, no, that's not gonna work. So, but he was not saying that's gonna happen. He's not saying that's something that we're gonna do. So everyone relax.
I mean,
like he was just, I mean, you're right. They are slowly moving us to renting everything. People are slowly losing access to owning things as time goes on. With everything can be on a Klarna, everything can be on installments, everything is renting and stuff like that. I'm already sick
paying for $60 games on my Switch, so don't try to.
You're gonna be disgusted when you come to PlayStation because them games are like $70.
And every game I get will be on sale or pre-sale.
Period. Okay, add it to the wish list and just wait a couple months.
I cannot do it. I've already there are so many other games I want to buy on the Switch, and I'm like, I just spent $60 on this game. I cannot do another $60. Disgusting.
Right.
Well, I have not played GTA 5. I don't think so. I think the last GTA I played was 3 or 4. It was a while ago. It's years.
Right.
So, we'll see. I don't have a system right now. You and our mutual friend said, even though it will be available, and GTA 5 is available on the Switch, y'all just are adamant about saying it's going to blow up.
Because it is.
If I try to download it.
Your iPhone would probably run it better than your Switch would at this point.
Don't do my Switch, baby.
There's nothing against the Switch. It's just, it's not the strongest thing in the world. They're allegedly they're releasing a new one relatively soon, but don't do that. Don't do that to yourself.
We'll see. Okay, moving on. So are you familiar with the movie I Am Legend?
I am.
Okay, so a while back they announced a sequel coming, and Will Smith just recently spoke on the confirmation of that, where Michael B. Jordan will be his counterpart in I Am Legend 2, I guess. They haven't really released
his
that.
Counterpart?
Like his
lover?
No, I don't think that's what he meant.
Oh.
I think he meant like...
I stand that couple, though. That'd be kind of cute.
So, here's the thing. So, in the theater, he dies, right? In that one. He dies in that
I was
one.
literally thinking, I was like, how did the last one end? Because didn't he pass?
But on the DVD, I've never seen the alternate ending, but apparently on the DVD, there's an alternate ending where he lives.
I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I remember the dog dying, and that was really sad.
Of course you did.
And I remember there being a Mustang.
The two things that are important to you, the animal and the car.
In the car. But yeah, I'm excited. I love Michael B. Jordan. I tolerate Will Smith. I'm kidding. I like Will Smith. Yeah,
I would argue to say I Am Legend, you were still a fan, right?
Right. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Will Smith. I just don't cape for him like I used to. Back in the day, I'd be like, Will Smith, I gotta go see it. Hancock, Pursuit of Happiness, which was a mistake for me to watch at that age because I was really sad.
Oh, I feel that.
I watched it with my parents and I was like, this is not the feel-good movie of the century. This is really fucking sad. It got better towards the end, but it was during the middle. I was like, this is traumatic.
I think Pursuit of Happiness is like a 2-hour film for the hour and 37 minutes that you have to go through for the last 23 minutes of the actual happiness he was pursuing. Is crazy.
Pursuit of Happiness crawled so Precious could run.
Now, Precious may have been the feel-good movie of this time.
You ain't gonna you're not getting me to watch it.
All I'm saying is...
I feel like that movie is actually, there's no happiness. Does it even end on a happy note? Does it even get better for her?
It depends on what you define as get better.
In her case, I don't know. Dying? Was that...
She died. Yeah, I think she was diagnosed with some terminal disease, though.
Oh, baby girl. I'm not watching Precious.
She was diagnosed with the AIDS. I can't remember. All I know is it was a good time for me seeing Monique and Mariah Carey and all of that.
Mariah Carey was in that movie?
Mariah Carey was in there. She was a social worker. And when I tell you, baby, she said, I know y'all think of me as all glitz and glamour, but I'm going to show you what I got.
Period.
No makeup.
I might have to watch it just for that. I don't stand for Mariah Carey either, but I just want to see what she's like as an actress. What does Mariah Carey even do these days?
She actually just released her 16th studio album.
What?
Yeah.
Is it just All I Want for Christmas Is You?
No. Even though this is her season, she's actually on she says international tour. And I'm not going to take that away from her because she does go to Canada. But...
Okay, she's international.
She's doing her Christmas tour where she is doing all
performing one song, I'm sure.
No, she's doing her classics, but she's always doing. Here is the interesting thing about that a lot of people don't know. All I Want for Christmas isn't just monumental, and it doesn't just make her a lot of money because it is the Christmas song of the season. She wrote All I Want for Christmas. It's not a remake. A lot of Christmas songs are remakes.
That's true.
So this is why she's getting paid off of it, because this is an original song by her. Every time they play it, she getting a coin. And then I don't know if her studio album is released yet. I know I just saw the cover for it not too long ago, and maybe coming out sometime soon. She's doing that, but Mariah Carey's been in film. I mean, Glitter. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that was Academy Award winning, but I liked it. It wasn't terrible.
I listen to Mariah Carey. No offense to Mariah Carey.
I mean,
it's not that I dislike her. I just don't. I guess I don't really be looking at her discography.
You're missing out because the Emancipation of Mimi is one of the best return albums I've ever heard. Talk about somebody not being on the scene and then blowing it out of the water. Number ones everywhere. Just awards. Just great album. Anyway, that's what she's doing. She was in Precious, so Monique was in it too. So watch it. We can watch it.
And he told me to shut my fat ass up.
He said.
And what did you do?
I
shut my fat ass up.
Yeah. Precious! Precious! Come make your mama feel good.
I'm not doing it.
It's not funny.
I know the premise of the movie, and that's enough for me to never watch it. Even though I'm surprised I didn't watch it, because my parents put me through every other traumatic movie. What is it? Pursuit of Happiness. What is it? I Am Christ.
Oh,
The Passion of Christ. Why would my parents take me to see that?
Because
I understand you want to get Jesus and all, but I did not need to see that.
They needed you.
I needed a children's Bible, not that.
And you know what I'm gonna tell you?
I still remember the movie.
You know what I'm gonna tell you? You got off good because you wanna know what they used to play for us? Left Behind. And you talk about a scary movie? That film?
Is that also like a Jesus film?
Imagine you and I sitting here, and then we hear the trumpets, and we know Christ is coming, and then I disappear, and you're still sitting here.
What? Wait, whoa. I don't appreciate the fact that I'm the one still here. Why am I the one not being lifted up?
I'm just saying, okay, imagine it's 5 people sitting here.
I mean, it's not inaccurate. I probably would be the one that would be left behind.
I'm just saying, though, imagine it's 5 people sitting here, and then you're just like, oh, the time has come, and then 3 of them are gone, and you're just looking at the other person like, what do you mean they're gone? And then the story is left behind, and then I
kind of want to watch that, actually. That sounds like fun. That sounds like a good movie. That actually sounds like a really good movie. I kind of want to check that out.
Not to a child in Bible school, vacation Bible study.
Why is Christianity so traumatic? Can we have some feel? Where are the VeggieTales? Where they at?
Because we don't trust Christ to be Christ. We want to put our spin on it, and we want to make him who we want to make him. And the reality is, he's enough. It's like how sometimes people are like, I gotta put the best version of myself on when I go on a first date, and it's not even anything like you. And so then they get to really know you, and it's like, shit. This is not who I went on the first date with. Like, we feel like we have to put this like red ribbon and like bright lights in big cities on Christ when he's enough on his own. But that's another story. So we can watch Left Behind if you want to.
I do. I don't want to watch it.
There's actually, I think there's a two.
Not the second rapture.
It's 2 or 3 now. It's 2 or 3 now. I don't know. I have not watched that in a long time. Okay, so keeping on the vein of stardom and movies, are you familiar with Macaulay Culkin? Of course, I'm sure. Home Alone.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so he got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which was very nice. And then I remember that he was married to a girl from Disney. You know what I'm talking about?
Who?
Let's see. I should have said her.
While you're looking that up, I did not know Nicolas Cage was in this movie.
Which one?
Left Behind.
Yes. I think that's the second one. Maybe. I can't remember. Yeah, it's interesting. It is a very interesting film. It's all about instilling fear, which you don't necessarily have to do. But what do I know? I
want you to know that. I'm sorry. This is the remake that came out in 2014.
I was about to say, yeah.
And it got a 3.1 out of 10. We will be watching it.
Brenda Song. You know that girl?
I love Brenda Song.
He is married to her and they have a child. It's so cute.
Oh, good. Congratulations to everybody.
Yeah.
To everyone in that group. I love Brenda Song.
I do like her too. And I'm happy for Macaulay Culkin because we thought he was gonna go down the same path, or it looked like he was
Going
gonna go down
downhill.
the same path as the child stars.
It was
And
looking
I'm
real
glad that
sketch for a minute.
I'm glad that he got it together. So
it's funny you mentioned him because he showed up like on my TikTok the other day. Maybe
he
that's
doing?
why. I don't know. It was just like they talked about something about him, but maybe it's about his star actually.
Probably.
But
It may have been a video of him getting his star.
Bitch, Brenda's song aged good.
Very well, right?
Girl,
Brenda
you better
is
work,
looking
girl.
good.
Okay. She said that Disney check is Disney checking. Period.
And you better work. She is. I think she around. I don't know, around our age, but yeah.
She looks the fuck good.
Shout out, and I have an unpopular opinion. Even though Home Alone 1 and 2 are excellent movies, especially for Christmas, and Macaulay Culkin did great in them, they will never overshadow The Good Son. He did amazing in The Good Son, and I'll never forget that film. So, if you never watched The Good Son, we can watch it.
I have a whole confession for you. I ain't seen that or Home Alone.
You
1,
ain't
2,
never
or
seen
3.
Home Alone?
Nah.
We don't have to watch 3.
I don't like Christmas movies like that. Unless it's The Dalmatians, which is kind of like a Christmas movie. But yeah, I'm just not a Christmas movie person. And that's also that. Hold up. No, there's another one I do love. Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer. That shit was funny.
Wow.
I love that movie. But yeah, I'm just not a Christmas movie person. I don't like Hallmark movies. You know me. I'm not trying to see people be happy. I'm trying to see people get hemmed up. I'm trying to see people get hemmed.
That's the funny thing. So Home Alone is before Hallmark. It's before those like quintessential. It's in the middle, right? So you had like A Christmas Story, which isn't a quintessential happy Christmas movie, right? It's kind of chaotic. You've got this kid wanting a BB gun, and the whole premise, you'll shoot your eye out, and then he actually does shoot his eye out, and it's just like all this stuff.
Oh, see, I can get behind that.
Yeah, but that's like early, I want to say Christmas Story came out like the 70s or the 80s, and then Home Alone comes out in the 90s, and it's like this comedy, right? So he's like, without, spoiler alert, if you never see Home Alone, I'm going to just say this, I won't give away everything. His family is doing a Christmas vacation, and it's a lot of them. It's like 6 or 7 kids, plus the parents. He, for whatever reason, his mom, for whatever reason, does not realize he's not on the bus when they go to the airplane. They go all the way to the next state without him. So he's left alone. So that's the Home Alone. So he's by himself for like a week and a half. And this is pre-cell phone. This is pre-Find My Friend. This is all that.
So she just never realized her child was gone.
She did not realize it until they land. And then she's like doing the count. And she's like, wait, blah, 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 where's Kevin? And then you also have to realize this. You have to you have to find a computer or call a travel agent. Because computers are actually not as common. So you probably have to call a travel agent. Find a flight back home, have the money for the flight back home, do all these things, so it's not as easy to get back to him as today's times. And so he's just going through the motions of like being by himself. And it's funny, and like it's a whole bunch of comedy that just happens in it, whatever. So it's funny. It was, I would say, innovative for its time. You didn't see any films like that. You had like think about a Christmas movie meets Dennis the Menace.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know the premise of the movie. I know it. I just haven't watched it. I don't like Christmas movies like that.
We can watch it. Home Alone 1 and 2.
I barely like The Grinch. I mean, I watched The Grinch, but I don't love it. This is not my vibe. This is not a Christmas person.
Not a Christmas person. That's fine.
You know my favorite Christmas movie ever? I think it came out last year. Was it called Silent Night? I think. About the Santa who was fucking shit up. I love it. One of my favorite Christmas movies.
We went to see that, I think, at the drive-in.
The thing is, I don't remember if it was called Silent Night, because I think there's a movie out right now with the same exact name. So, I don't really know.
Could be. I don't remember.
Maybe it's a sequel. But anyway.
There's also a Thanksgiving horror film.
I watched that one too. Also loved that.
Didn't watch it. Didn't see it. But, okay. Switching gears a little bit. T.I. and his son King got into an altercation because King decided to buck up on Le Madre. And T.I. was like, whoa, you need to calm down. like kids always push the limits a little bit. Not always, because I'm not gonna say I pushed. My mom slapped me once, and that's all it took. And I knew I had that slap coming. I knew it as soon as I was turning the corner down the step after I had said what I had said. Oh, she gonna hit me.
You felt it like a missile on your ass. Oh, yeah, that's a. You know, I agree. Not every parent, not every child, because my parents didn't play those games either. I mean, mind you, I did buck up here and there, but you know, nothing super off the wall. Funny enough, I actually had Kristen add this story to the list of things to talk about, but then I realized I didn't really want to talk about it because I don't really care about T.I. nor his family. But if we're here now, so we're gonna talk about it real quick.
Oh, he's 19.
It's mainly what they're beefing about that was funny to me. Because if I understand the story correctly, old boy wants to essentially show that he has street cred and wants to be from the streets of Atlanta. Yes. He wants to be from Bankhead.
And he also wants to
by also being raised in Alpharetta, basically, or Buckhead or whatever.
Yeah. Here's the thing that I was feeling about that. So it's come out recently, or not maybe even recently, but it's been promoted more so recently that there's this kind of animosity because King has come out openly and spoken about the fact that he didn't grow up in the house that they filmed in, that he spent the majority of his time with his grandmother, and then they would just call him to the house when they were filming. And so he wanted to be like, you all think we're this happy family, you think T.I.'s this way or Tiny's this way. In reality, they didn't even raise me. I was spending a lot of time with my grandmother, and I feel like it's just a lot of like,
I guarantee you, King, nobody thinks that about your family.
I think it's just like crying out because he's hurt.
Yeah, I mean, of course, no one really knows what goes behind those doors aside from those two, or the family. But I mean, trust me, King. Like I said, no one thinks you come from a happy family.
Nobody thinks you come.
Not even
a happy family, but just like you think.
You're right. You have the image online and stuff like that, and then, yeah, I definitely think that plays into the whole respect thing too. Because I mean, if you weren't raised by your parents, you probably don't have a tremendous amount of respect for them.
Absolutely not.
Not like the normal amount of respect that a child would probably have for their parent, but you know, of course, I just hope for nothing but healing for that family, and you know, hopefully he can get out his feelings in a healthy way that's not coming down your mama's, throat or whatever. You know, a lot of therapy. I do recommend. We recommend therapy here, and also I don't know why my brain is acting so weird today. It's just like not computing things.
Why do people want to be from the street so bad?
I believe it has to do with the media that surrounds our community, because it's so cool and hip to be from the streets and like, oh, you gotta be from the streets, you gotta be a hard nigga, you know, you gotta be out here getting money, twerking ass at red lights or whatever the hell it may be.
Wow.
It's the media that is in our communities, I feel like that plays a big part into it. You know, a lot of the music these kids are listening to nowadays. We were just talking about this before we got on the podcast, and this is no shade to Miss Sex Red, but you know, there's little kids singing Pound Town. I saw a TikTok the other day about this teacher who teaches like, I don't know, 2nd or 3rd grade, and she's like, I don't know what to do. These kids are like talking about like play Pound Town, play this, that, and the third, and we're just like, she's like, where's the leapfrogs? Where's the books? Where's the education?
Where's the kids bop?
Where's the kids bop?
Okay.
My kids are listening to Kids Bop.
Ooh, I am for real.
Like
Me
there's
and your daughter.
Period.
Got something going on. Where's that man?
And there's no subtlety these days, you know. Back because we were talking about this too, about the difference of music, about like nasty freak music's been around for a long time, but like back in when I was young and a child, they were talking about candy shops. Me being the great age of, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4, or whatever that song came out, I thought they were legitimately talking about candy, like candy. Like lollipops, Hershey's, Laffy Taffy. Okay, shake that Laffy Taffy. I literally thought they were talking about Laffy Taffy. Like I was like, okay, this is a really fun song. Shake that Laffy Taffy. I remember one time I was with my brother. We were driving somewhere. I remember he had this Dodge. Are they called Durangos? Or is it a Ram Durango? Whatever. He had a Durango. That song came on. And I had a little Laffy Taffy packet in my hand. I was like, shake that Laffy Taffy. Okay, I was having so much fun as this little child or whatever. Nowadays, they're talking about my coochie pink, my booty hole brown. There's nothing for the imagination. Nothing for the imagination.
And I'm not saying season one was, it's just a
It's
lot.
you
It's
know,
just a lot.
protect your kids.
Yeah.
I'm very careful when I play around my nieces and nephews, or
Same.
anyone young. Where I'm like, we're gonna listen to some, I don't know, some techno or something that's not
Something
this.
with no words.
No words, nothing, because you ain't about to go back to your
play
mom and
with
talk
me,
about
I'm only paying some Anita
something
Baker.
brown.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it just, I think it has a lot to do with the media that we consume. I actually saw something else on TikTok where this lady was comparing King and T.I. to this father and son duo from, I think, Empire or Power, where like the son apparently was coming from money, but he wanted to prove that he was so hard and so
Empire.
street so badly.
Empire.
So I've never watched it. I mean, I've been wanting to get to watching it because I just feel like I'm just so out of the loop.
It's drama. I mean, it's off now, but it's drama.
That's good because I need a show that's finished, so I don't feel like I'm so far behind. Game of Thrones, I'm sorry, I tried that too much. I need something shorter. I need something simpler.
And you know what? I respect people who are like, I tried it, wasn't for me, moving on.
Everyone says Game of Thrones gets better after season 1, and I just can't get past season 1. I keep falling asleep.
It gets better within season 1, but that's for people. Some people just don't want to watch it, and that's okay.
That's true.
Like, it's not for you. It's not for you. So, yeah, blessings and prayers to that family. I hope you find the healing you're looking for, because being from the streets ain't what it's cracked up to be. So, there was a question that was floating around social media, and I want to get your opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, if you're dating someone and they accomplish a big goal and you find out via social media, meaning they did not tell you directly, would you feel some type of way? If so, in feeling a kind of way, does that mean you're making it about you and not about their accomplishment?
There's levels to it. So I'll skip to the very last question first. Yes, I do believe if you are to an extent making it about you, because you're not entitled to that information. Maybe they be your partner or whatever, your best friend, your child, your mama. You're not necessarily entitled to that information. Mm-hmm. Would it have been nice to have been told? Yeah. But you're not entitled for them to have been like, hey, babe, I did A, B, C, and D. Now, I will say there's levels to this, because it kind of depends. Like, when you say dating, are we casually dating or are we in a relationship? Because if we're in a relationship, I'll probably feel a little bit different than if we were just casually dating. Again, even if I was that person's actual partner, and it would have been nice to have been like told, like, oh, I did this thing. Like, I'm still not obligated to have that information delivered to me in such a way. So if we're gonna go into the impression that we're in a relationship, mm-hmm. and they just announced this thing, again, I feel like there's just levels to it, because, like, you know, it may be one of those things where, like, they posted about it and they were going to tell me later after they got off work, or maybe we have our nightly calls, because me and my partner, we talk every night before we go to sleep. Maybe they're going to call and tell me later, you know, maybe it's going to be something we're going to talk about in person. They wanted to wait till we were in person to kind of tell me, but they wanted to post. So, it's like, there's levels to it. I think my knee-jerk reaction would probably be, like, a little like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. I wish they told me. But, like, you know, I don't think I would take too much offense to it, honestly. Like I said, there's levels to it. It's also kind of like one of those things where, like, is this something I knew that was happening already? Like, did I know that they were working on it? Like, for example, if I knew that they were getting a degree and they had a test today and they passed their test, I knew they were going to take the test today, and either they're going to pass or fail. So they posted on social media. So, like, oh, okay, you passed. That's great. Like, I don't necessarily need to know, like, whatever, all the ins and outs.
Let's say it's a situation where you're dating someone and maybe they're a writer and they've been trying to pilot or get, like, this screen off the ground. Mm-hmm. And they finally get the green light to get this work. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to be working with a major corporation, and, you know, they're going to have, like, 10 episodes or whatever, or the movie or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they announce it on social media. Now, you may have known that they were working on it, but they announce it on social media, and you just happen to see it before they tell
you. Like I said, knee-jerk reaction, maybe I would be like I feel a way, but no, I don't think I would be too bothered. I would probably just wait for them to bring it up to me. Like, let's say me and my partner, mm-hmm. currently in that situation. Like, if we did have that call, our normal call at night, and they didn't mention it, I probably would mention it for them. Like, hey, I saw you posted this on social media. Like, why didn't you tell me? But, no, I don't think I would get upset, honestly. Like I said, I don't think you're really entitled to that information, no matter who they are. That could be my child, and then be like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. That's fine. Would I feel a type of way? I don't know, maybe a little bit, but not enough to make it a big issue. What about you?
I mean, you have a point where you're not entitled to any information, but that's kind of like for me, that's kind of like a thin line where, no, I don't owe you anything in a sense of the formal definition of it. Like, I'm my own person. But if I have decided to, like, share my life with you, then there are some kind of, like, stipulations or unspoken things that exist where we should be discussing things. I feel like, for me, there would be dependencies, like you said. It would depend on, like, if it were an announcement of something that I just didn't even know they were working out to begin with.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Kind of depends. Like, if it's something like really random,
where
I'm like, wait, you
really
got your
random?
doctorate? Like, what do you mean? Like,
Also, if it's like, if it's a situation where, like, they had to work on something where they couldn't talk about it.
Right.
Even still, I would probably be like, oh, it would be nice to know before the rest of the world. Because there is this kind of, like, there is this kind of layer, right, where you're like, if you feel like you're close to someone, you don't want to find out particular information with the rest of the world about someone you're close to. Mm-hmm. So, I think it would depend. It would depend on if I knew about the project and then they were just finishing it up and then they were just... Because sometimes you get excited and you just want to post and that's fine. And then we have our conversation. It's like, I'm so happy for you. Or if they don't bring it up and then it's just like you don't talk about it, then that leads to it. But I feel like for me, what a healthy relationship would look like, and this is what for me, not what a healthy relationship is, but for my healthy relationship would be, it would either have to be a situation where they are posting about something that I already know that they're working towards, and then we have a conversation about it later. Or I would prefer that we have the conversation before. Now, if that's not possible, like, sometimes things happen. You're on different schedules. You're on different... I have been in situations where I've dated people who were on different time zones.
Right.
It's just not the same. And so I don't expect you to have to withhold your joy or your jubilee for me.
Right.
Do what you do. But if it's a situation like even down to if we live together, there's no way I should be hearing about something on social media beforehand. For me.
That's fair.
But if it's situations where they're, like I said, and like you said, they're just circumstances.
Like I can think of a situation where like maybe like I'm working and that something happens in the middle of the day and they're just so excited they post about it and they want to tell me, but I'm too busy because I'm working. So it's circumstantial. I think no one size fits all in here.
Yeah. So the question was it arose from, there was a couple that's a little bit
coronavirus.
Shut up. There was a couple that's kind of like well known as a social media couple, and the person found out about a big accomplishment from their significant other from social media, and they like live together and they talk all the time, and they didn't know that this person was like going out for this, and they posted it on social media, and then I think they may have been around the person, like they lived together, so they were like around the person, they just didn't bring it up. Mm-hmm. And then the person was like, so I saw on social media that you did XYZ, so I think that's where like it rose from.
Right, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's just circumstantial, I guess.
All right, so let's get into the topic of the week. I know this is something you might be excited about because you love the animals. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about pets as friends this week and just kind of discuss the deep bonds between humans and animals and even emotional support animals and just different things like that. So, I'll let you start because I know you have a lot of experience with having like animals and emotional support animals and just different things like that. So, let's start off with the question of what do you feel about humans being friends with animals? Like in the sense of like, can a human actually be a friend with an animal?
Yeah, 100%. My best friend is a cat,
Of course.
which is funny because we don't talk the same language, but like we get each other. But no, I actually think it's really interesting, and I know this isn't exclusive to humans. A lot of creatures can do this, but one of my favorite things about humans, specifically, is the way we can bond with other species. In a few different ways, maybe like a caretaker and like somebody taking care of something, or like a mutually exclusive, like not mutually exclusive, a mutually beneficial relationship, or whatever the case may be, where, you know, my cat gives me emotional support, I feed him and give him shelter. So, we're both benefiting from it. But I do think it's really fascinating about how deep those bonds can be between two completely different species. Because, like I said, me and Loki don't speak the same language. I don't know how to meow. I mean, I don't know how to meow properly without probably calling him ugly or whatever. It'd probably offend him. He doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't know how to speak English, or he doesn't know how to speak, any human language. Even though sometimes his meows sound like hellos. Sometimes, maybe one day there'll be a bridge where they're like, okay, I can finally talk. But yeah, no, I think it's really interesting and really cool how deep those relationships can be. As you've said, I grew up with animals my entire life. I've never gone a long period without an animal. I think the longest I've gone in my life without having any pet in my house was a year. And that was the first year after I moved out of my... That wasn't even a full year. No, I've never gone more than a year, like more than like probably like a half a year without having a pet in my life.
What has your relationship with pets been since like you can remember? Like when was the first time you experienced like, hey, I actually like this as a entity, like as a living, breathing thing, and I feel like we have a connection.
The first time I think I experienced that was when me and my sister were with my mom. We went to, I think, a bank or the doctor's office or something, and someone in the parking lot was giving out boxers. It was
Like
this
boxers.
like the
Oh,
puppy.
the dog.
The
Okay.
dog, yeah. So like, yeah, boxer puppies.
My bad.
Or puppy-ish. So there was one named Romeo and one named Juliet, or we named them that. And of course my sister had Juliet, I had Romeo. But that's probably the first time I feel like I had experienced a bond with an animal where we would play all the time. Like he would follow me around the house. I would sit on the couch and he would sit with me. We didn't keep them for a long time because it was kind of like one of those like knee-jerk reaction moments where we're like, we got an animal and we probably shouldn't have got an animal, especially, me and my sister being so young. We were like, please, mom, please, 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 we'll take care of them. And then in usual fashion of us being kids, we were like, we're not walking them things. Okay, that's up to you. So we ended up rehoming them, which, in and of itself, I don't think rehoming is a bad thing. I've rehomed animals before. If you find them a good home, that's perfectly fine. Just don't throw them to the curb or put them in the fucking shelter. That's kind of mean. But if you find that, if you do what you need to do to vet a good home, that's, all power to you. So that's probably the first time I had a, experience with, like feeling bonded to a different species or an animal. And then every other pet after that, it's just kind of been that way. My childhood dog, his name was Snoop. He was actually my friend's dog first before we adopted him. Me and Snoop were like two peas in a pod. He would sleep in my bed. We would go on walks together. I watched him go from a puppy to getting old and passing away, unfortunately. So it was like literally like my brother or like my child or whatever. Loved Snoop down. I also had Jasmine, as you know, which was a dog we had around when Snoop was around. Came a few years later, but Jasmine and I used to do all kinds of stuff together, take her on hikes. We would go on like walks. We would play video games together. Well, not play video games together, but like I would play video games. She would like sit there and watch. Same thing with Snoop. Like whenever I was playing video games, he would just like sit next to me and just like hang out with me. And now I have Loki, my cat, who literally is like my shadow and is probably like meowing and crying right now because I'm not around. I feel like that nigga just be using me. Honestly.
Do you really?
No, I don't. Because he provides a lot.
You be using him.
We be using each other. But yeah, it's just like it's a unique, bond in comparison to humans because like you have to learn to communicate in so many other ways, so you can't communicate verbally. Like, of course, I can tell Loki or, Snoop, I love you or whatever, and they may comprehend what that maybe means, but like, there's probably a good chance they don't know what that means. But you communicate in other ways,
Not
such as like,
verbally.
petting or like, rubbing on them or playing with them, because that's kind of like your mutual communication style
Yeah.
with something that doesn't speak with you. Similar to like how we might communicate with babies that can't speak English or speak any language. You're just kind of like, okay, it's a lot about like body language and like how I talk to you and like
Even
my
feeding.
tone and how I like when I'm feeding you and things like that. So I think it's a more like a slightly, I'm not going to say a more pure version of love or a pure friendship in comparison to human friendships, but there is a lack of conflict that arises when you're dealing with another human.
Like a non-judgmental presence.
I'm not gonna say non-judgmental. So some of these dogs be judging the hell out of
judging
the hell out of us. They be looking like ugh, disgusting. But more of like it's just less complicated because there's less. There's not the feeling spectrum is a little smaller. I think in animals, where like Loki probably has like a few default settings. He's either annoyed or happy. To my knowledge, I've never seen Loki be sad. I may not picked up on that. I know animals can feel sad and feel excited and all these other things, but like with a human, I feel like our range of emotions can be a lot broader and a lot more volatile in comparison to an animal. Where like, Snoop or Jasmine or Loki, like they get upset with me, I feed them a little bit of kibbles and bits. They're like, I love you again. Like they don't really care. It's actually something I've learned not growing up, something I've learned as far as like having a cat versus a dog is where like a cat isn't just gonna give you love because they want to give you love. Like you have to kind of like earn it over time. Like they're not just gonna show up and be like a dog. We're like, oh, you got me some food, love you, love you, love you. Like some cats are like that, but not all cats. Some cats are like, I don't fuck with you. I'm not gonna fuck with you for like multiple years until I know I can trust you and stuff like that.
How was Loki?
Loki didn't. Loki was timid at first. Like he didn't really like want to be around me too much. But like he probably like day 2 or 3, he was just like, so you're my father. Excellent.
So
you love me, right? So you love me, excellent. It's just like a little less complicated than human relationships because there's not like expectations. There's not hurt feelings. Like yeah, they may do something that annoys you, but like they didn't mean it maliciously. They may like a animal really can't hurt your feelings like that. Like a human probably can. Mind you. I think that's what makes human relationships kind of beautiful is because you can be a lot more vulnerable with a human and like really open up that emotional like floodgate for lack of a better term. But like an animal, it's a very simple, easy relationship in comparison with another human.
Yeah.
Probably I prefer animals.
Yeah.
My animal can't backstab me. Okay.
He can.
But they won't.
You don't know that.
They probably won't.
Well, I get that. So, I grew up with dogs too. I've never had a cat because I'm allergic to cats. And we never had a cat in the house because I myself am allergic and so is my mom. So, even though I've been around cats a little bit and all that, I just grew up with dogs. So, when I was younger, like the first dogs we had were labs. We had Bob and Marley. Those were 2 labs.
Oh, come on, Bob and Marley.
And Bob and Marley were around until I was probably like, I want to say 13.
Mm-hmm.
And then they passed away. Well, Bob passed away first, and then Marley was not too far after. They were siblings, so I guess maybe and that was another like interesting thing that I think about now because I'm like, were they experiencing heartbreak? Was Marley like, I don't want to go on without my sibling who, even though I have my human people here.
I think about that sometimes. I often think about, I'm like, I'm such a cruel person. I've just ripped this animal away from his family. I be thinking about that. Like, I wonder what Loki's parents are doing right now.
But maybe Loki hasn't seen his parents since he was born.
The good thing is animals probably don't remember.
The only reason we got Bob and Marley together, and then we had 2 huskies. It was Salt and Pepper. And they came, so we actually brought them over to the States, and I had them until I was like 16, right before I graduated high school. Mm-hmm. And then in between that, I had a little baby Yorkie, Satin, whom I don't actually know why my parents got rid of Satin. I assuming maybe she didn't get along with Salt and Pepper. I would see like them like scuffle,
Right.
but I didn't really understand what was happening when I was younger. Cause I really liked Satin, cause Satin was the first small dog I had. There was like bigger dogs. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then one night I came home and they were like, we gave Satin to a farm, and I was like, I don't know what that means. What do you mean you gave Satin to a farm?
It means
like,
exactly what you probably think it means.
Oh my gosh! So, and then after that, I had a Pomeranian. I got a Pomeranian when I went to college, which was not a good idea. College students should not have. Okay, let me not say all college students shouldn't have dogs, but I'm gonna say it is difficult for you as a college student living on campus to try to have a dog.
I would
First
argue
of all, they don't allow you to have dogs on campus. So I got Satin when I moved off. I got my Pomeranian, which was Diva. Moved her off.
Of course she was.
Eva the Diva was her name. And we moved off campus. And it was still kind of difficult because as a college student, I was doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue if you're in your 20s,
it's
unless you're
smart.
in a committed marriage at this point, it's probably not your best to have a dog.
Or you're like living on your own. The circumstances in which I had,
just don't have a dog.
Wasn't good.
Until you get in a relationship or until you have like a solid, multiple people living in your household, just don't get a dog.
Yeah, it wasn't good, and I realized that.
Or if you have money, having money probably helps.
It was tough to give her up, but I was like, nope, gotta give her up. I gave her to a good family, rehomed her, and then I was like, well, I do want to get more pets. But I just always felt like I'm not in the right headspace, or I'm not in the right physical space, or I just don't know what I want to do. Especially like traveling as much as I do. I was like, I don't want to get a pet. But I will acknowledge, like, even thinking about the pets that I had when I was younger. So being the youngest, I did have a lot of siblings, but they were in the house. So I did find myself spending a lot of time with my dogs and, like, even talking to them. And, like,
right.
I would literally read my dogs my stories, and they would react. I don't care what anybody, they would react.
They were excited.
They would be like, they would give a bark if they liked it and 2 barks if they didn't. And
listen, I believe animals can try to understand us a little bit. But yeah, just such a unique relationship, actually. I've done a lot of research on, like, how humans were able to domesticate certain creatures, like cats and dogs and stuff. Funny enough, we domesticated dogs. Cats just kind of domesticated themselves into us.
I heard, like, what I was looking at was that it started with wolves and then moved to dogs.
I don't remember specifically how it happened, but basically, yeah, we're like, through many years, we were able to slowly make a wolf like more of like a dog, for lack of a better term. Like, they're not the same. I don't like a wolf and a dog are not the same species.
Like a trusted companion,
right? Like I said, it became like more of a mutually beneficial thing, where like dogs were really good, helpful for hunting and for pulling things and working dogs. That's why a lot of bigger dogs are like working dogs, because they need a purpose or something like that, because we've taught them to do that. Cats, on the other hand, they benefited us because essentially back then where rats were everywhere and causing plagues, cats were like, listen, we'll hunt these rats if y'all feed us. And now we just have them in our houses.
So how did that happen? Do you know? I don't know.
Yeah, well, the dogs are with cats. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, so cats, they're back way back in the day. The domestic house cat we have now is a descendant of the African something cat, where in Africa, I believe, don't quote me on all of this, but I want to believe it was in Africa back in the day before we had like, pesticides and things like that to kill certain things. Cats were really good at hunting, and humans realized that, like, oh, okay, like, you're more effective at hunting mice and rats and things like that than we are. So, like, we'll feed you and you can keep hunting these things. And cats realized that, like, that's actually a pretty good deal. So they just kind of like stuck around for a long time, and like they just kind of like continued staying with us. So cats kind of played a lot of the same role throughout life, where like they would help humans keep down certain pests, and by extension we would just feed them and love on them. And that's how they slowly became our domestic house cats, where they're in our house, and we still have a lot of that same relationship now as we used to. Like Loki be hunting bugs, he be hunting whatever for me. Not that I have bugs in my house, but you know, back in the previous apartment, he definitely got a roach or two for me.
Oh, I saw that.
But dogs, on the other hand, I believe it's something they've kind of followed a similar thing where, you know, just over time we just kind of like continue to benefit from each other, and then eventually that's became just like a house dog. It's definitely think it takes a long time for humans to develop that kind of bond with an animal. Like I said, it took many years to domesticate these two creatures to becoming like what they are today. But I do also think it can happen with just random animals too. Like you see some human, like some, what are those people? Like the people who do like sea life stuff. They become, for lack of a better term, friends with these dolphins and stuff. Mind you, dolphins are really smart, but you know.
But then you have situations where it's like you think something's domesticated, like a tiger, and then it attacks you. So like, where do we draw the line?
Because one, tigers aren't domesticated.
Where do we draw the line on trying to domesticate something?
Domestication takes it takes like not generational, but it takes like multiple generations to get to a domesticated point where like you can't just go find a random lion out in the public and like, you know, it's a baby and assume it's not going to want to kill you when it gets older, because it's not, genetically speaking, it's not meant for that. Yeah, it will still have its prey drive. It will still have this like drive inside of it to kill, to hunt, to do whatever big cats do. Now, I'm sure if you were to continue picking up these small animals and over the years, like you have one and then that child of that one and your child has one, and it keeps just going and going and going. At some point, maybe you will have a domesticated lion, but it takes a long time, like a long time. Like it's not going to happen overnight. Now, there have been occasions where, you know, we have been able to, for lack of a better term, train these animals, like for circuses or for like zoos and stuff like that, but they're not domesticated. Like, it's not the same thing as having like a house cat where he's not going to rip my face off in the middle of the night. There's still a chance that even though this animal is trained, that it may think one day, I don't really care what you say, you're dinner tonight.
That is a good point. I'm actually going to look up domesticated versus trained, because that is... So it says from National Geographic, domestic animals such as dogs, cats, and cattle have been genetically adapted over generations to live alongside humans. Domesticated animals are animals that have been selectively bred and genetically adapted over generations to live alongside humans. However, taming an animal is a conditioned behavioral modification of an individual animal. So, I guess, yeah, taming is more so temporary, whereas domestication is permanent.
Right. So, I was also doing some research. Yeah, so dogs were initially domesticated by humans more than 15,000 years ago. Like, it takes a long time to get that to be a thing. So, yeah. And also, it's also another thing. Dogs actually did come from a wolf, but cats, like domesticated cats, do not come from lions. That is not true. They don't come from cheetahs or lions or anything like that. It's a completely different animal, but they are both cats at the end of the day. So, just letting people know.
Oh, yeah. So, how do you feel? Are there any differences between having relationships with your dogs and your cat?
Yeah, like I was kind of mentioning
earlier. Cat, right?
Technically, I had a family cat when I was like really young, but she ate my bird, so we weren't really fucking around with each other. And then she ran away. So, Tabby, I forgot her name, but I hope she's probably dead. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, that was so long ago. Hope she had a good life, but yeah, she ate my bird, and then she ran away. So, you know, whatever. Like I said, hope she's doing good, or was good, because she's definitely probably dead at this point. That was like 18 years ago. So that was longer than 18 years ago. That was like 20 years ago. So she's more than likely dead. But You know, dogs are different than cats in a sense of like, dogs, I feel like, are easier to manipulate, for lack of a better term, and dogs kind of like blindly trust for the most part. Not all of dogs, obviously, but dogs, like I said, you give them a little bit of affection, you give them some food and whatnot, some shelter, they're gonna be your companion no matter what. That's why they're called man's best friend, because they're not gonna abandon you, they're not gonna like turn their back on you. Like, no matter how mean you are to them, for the most part, they'll still, come back and be there for you and
And
still
then
love on
I
you.
would say they probably give a little bit more like physical play and
Right.
like you know what we so human beings a lot of times consider compassion like one-on-one things, and dogs do that, right? Like they'll
Right.
snuggle up, they'll
Funny enough,
sniff
I actually find
you, they're like do that, and some cats do, some cats don't, but a lot, I would say more dogs do physical like compassion, what we would consider uh like adoration movements in cats. You know what I mean? Like,
I actually feel like it's kind of even. Cause like, yeah, I think cats get the rap of being like aloof and like not really fucking around with you, but like, I think that's just when people like just walk up to a random cat or like go to someone's house for the first time or don't spend a lot of time with that animal, where they just like show up and they're like, oh, come here. And the cat's like, I don't fucking know you, but Loki is the most affectionate animal I've ever had in my life. And I know that happens with other cat owners where it's
but
like,
he's always emotional. He's only that affectionate a lot with you.
with me. But that's why I'm saying the difference between dogs and cats were like, dogs, they are loyal to the people they care about, but at the same time, a random stranger can be like, oh, hey, Fido, here's some bacon. And he's going to be like, oh, I'm your best friend now.
Yeah.
That's why they're man's best friend. A cat, the difference in my opinion with their relationship is, and this is why I also feel like a lot of people don't like cats, is because cats are really good about setting boundaries and they're really good about coming to you when they're ready. Where humans, a lot of us naturally, including myself, because I didn't like cats for a while for the same reason, like other standoffish or so whatever, where I think because they're a pet, we assume that we're entitled to their love and we're entitled to their affection and stuff like that, where if they don't do it, we're like, oh, you're mean, or oh, I don't like you, or whatever. It's like, no, you just need to learn how to have boundaries and understand that even though this is a pet, quote unquote, it's still its own creature and can have its own opinion and do what it wants to do. Not do what it wants to do, but it'll come to you when it's ready. Where I feel like a lot of people don't like that. Where it'd be kind of be like, let's say like that was a human, for example. You might feel a certain type of way if you're like, oh, you have a girlfriend or whatever, or a boyfriend. They're like, oh, you're like, oh, come here, come cuddle me. And you're like, no, I don't want to right now. Like, you might feel a certain type of way, like you feel like rejected, or you feel like your partner might be, holding out on you or pulling away, where it's just like,
Right.
no, that person just established a boundary and they just don't want to do that thing right now. Doesn't mean they don't like you or they don't care
Right.
about you.
They
It's
just
just like
want to do
right
it
now
right
they
now.
don't want to
Yeah.
cuddle. So I feel like people have a hard time accepting that versus dogs. Where like dogs, blindly loyal, they'll pretty much come to you for whatever. Cat is like, I'll come to you when I'm ready, if I feel like it. So I feel like that's a bit of a difference. Having Loki has definitely taught me how to respect boundaries a little bit more. Not to say that I was bad at respecting boundaries, but it does make me think twice about like being pushy or like, trying to be like convince someone to do certain things. So it's only going to make, for example, Loki not want to be around me even more. Like,
Yeah.
if I tell him to come here and cuddle and he doesn't want to and I pick him up, he's going to squirm. He's going to be like, release me, and like jump off and like try to go away. So I try to keep that in mind where I'm like, just accept the person's boundary. Just, it is what it is. They'll come to me when they're ready. So, having a cat can teach you a lot of things. Having a dog taught me a lot of stuff too, as far as like how to be responsible, how to maintain, a healthy environment, how to, be consistent, things like that. So I definitely think you can learn a lot from having a pet.
That's fair. So, do you think you'll get another dog?
Yeah, one day, later, way later down the line, when I'm not traveling the world all the time. Like, not that I travel the world all the time now, but
You
probably when
were
I'm
a
a little bit.
traveler.
Not as much as you out here traveling every weekend, but
Listen.
probably when I'm a little bit like a little slower and probably have a little bit more of an established home life in the sense of like having like maybe like a partner or like having enough money where like I could just put the dog in like housing or something like that if I was going out of town. But I don't see that happening for a long time now. Now, another cat, absolutely. Loki needs a
Another
brother.
cat? You think so? You think
Yeah.
Loki would like a pet, a brother or sister?
I do. We were not house sitting. We were dog sitting for my other aunt. Who she has a small dog named Cairo. And I thought Loki would hate him. And for the first like day or two, Loki definitely was not fucking around with that dog. But like,
Okay.
come like day 4 or 5, like while they weren't playing, they were like in the same room, and Loki just didn't care. Like he wasn't freaking out or like hissing or anything like that. But towards the end, they were playing. They were having fun with each other. They would like play hide and seek, and Loki would like sneak up on him and
Not Loki
things
hissing.
like that.
I've never heard Loki hiss.
Oh yeah, Loki was not fucking around with that cat. I mean, that dogs. But yeah, no, I think Loki would do fine with another animal. It would take him probably a few days to realize that they weren't going anywhere and that they weren't like a danger. But yeah, Loki wouldn't care. I think he would really enjoy it.
That's fair. So, can you say that there are any like differences in the emotional reactions you've gotten or like been taught by a dog versus a cat?
What do you mean by that?
Like, you talked about like Loki teaching about boundaries and saying like, okay, well if he doesn't want to do this, then I won't do that. But dogs teaching you like they like this versus they don't like that. Like, if you had to kind of think about what you've learned from each, I guess, species,
Okay, yeah.
how would you like outline it? Because I've never had a cat. That's why I'm asking you. I've only had dogs. I had a bird, and I've had fish. But and I would beg to differ that the fish taught me a little bit, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So, like, I feel like, and it could be also because you're older with Loki,
Maybe.
so you're learning a little bit more. But like, do you feel like you've learned more over the other, or?
No, I feel like I just learned different things. Like I said, having a dog, you have to take them outside because they're going to go in your house otherwise. So teach you about being consistent, and dogs are very schedule oriented. So like, make sure you go out at the same time every day, making sure you do A, B, C, and D, and keeping track of their health, and making myself a little bit more organized as far as like cleaning up after myself and making sure I'm not just leaving random things out because they're going to eat it or whatever the case may be. So versus a cat where like I learned to be a little bit more careful with my boundaries. I'm careful, again, still careful about where I put things. I'm a little more careful about, watching what they eat and things like that. So like, they teach you different things. I feel like, of course, their hobby has a little bit of intersectionality between what you can learn from both, but I definitely think you learn different things from having different animals. Maybe having a fish, for example, teaches you to be a little more responsible because you have to keep track of like, did you feed them? Are you cleaning their bowls? Are you, doing all the other stuff? I don't know what it really takes to take care of a fish. Every fish I've had has died, very quickly. I think I've had like 2 or 3 fish, and they've all died within like a week and a half. I guess I'm just not good at taking care of fish. Mind you, I was also a kid, so maybe I should give it a chance now. No.
Yeah, it may not be you. I had 2 goldfish, Harrison and Ford, and they lived in, they weren't projected to live past a year. They were at 2.5 years, and I went out of town and I left them with a friend, and I came back and they were dead.
I'm letting everybody know right here, right now. If I leave Loki with you and I go out of town, I come back, he's dead, you will also be joining him.
Really?
I will murder you. There's no reason my cat should be dead.
What if something happened? Like he ran outside?
Why was he outside? Why would you let him run outside?
Like, what if he just like?
No, there's no excuse.
What if it was like not even expected? It was like some unforeseeable
and you need to
disease.
run. You need to sprint after him with the Flash.
What if it was some unforeseeable disease or something? Just plague.
Why you got plagues in your house?
What? I'm in your house.
So you brought a plague into my house. So that plague wasn't there before. Wow. So you brought a plague into my house. You will be murdered. You will be killed.
Okay. I think this will be the last question because I wanted to ask about that. So I was pretty upset when I came back because I did leave my fish with someone I thought I could trust, and it was very crazy that they were just dead when I got back.
Don't make no sense.
Um, Deal breakers.
Yes.
If you leave your pet with someone that you trust and you come back and your pet is no longer alive, is that friendship or relationship over?
Oh, it's a wrap. That's done. There's nothing.
No explanation can solve it.
Unless you tell me that they were struck by lightning.
Or like shot.
Or no, I still wouldn't be able to forgive you because one, why is my animal, unless it was a dog and you were outside for some reason. But if it was my cat, why is my cat outside to get struck by lightning?
What if you're inside and they get struck by lightning? What if you're inside and the bullet come through the wall?
You should have jumped in front of it. Okay, sure. If there was some really outlandish situation where, like, I don't know, your building collapsed and you didn't know where they were, or like, for example, that house that blew up, store,
like
maybe.
Happened.
But any realistic thing I can think of, let me see here. So if my animal gets sick, I'm probably blaming you because you're probably the one who gave it them. Or
things do get sick though.
I just find it funny that they would get sick while I was not around.
Okay.
They run out in the traffic. No, that's your fault because you should be able to there's no reason they should run out in traffic.
That's fair. Okay.
I'm not gonna say it'd be relationship ending. It would probably take me a little while to get over though. It'd probably take me like a solid a year for me to be like, you don't hit me up. Don't call my line.
And you probably never let them watch anything else
ever again. I'm not even let you watch TV. You ain't watching nothing. You will never watch another thing in my house again. You ain't even watching TikTok. You ain't watching nothing. Close your eyes. Watch absolutely nothing because I can't trust you. No, ma'am. My child? That would be like if you leave your child with your nanny or something, or your friend, like, hey girl, I was gonna get my nails done. Can you watch little Tim Tim? You come back, Tim Tim is dead. What do you mean? What do you mean?
And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm not trying to shade anybody, but it's taking it a step further, thinking about a whole human being that someone grew on the inside of them versus something you picked up.
Who told you that I didn't carry Loki to term?
You didn't though. You
told
don't know
me that.
You told me where you got him. He was 1 year old when you got him.
Well, someone had to carry him to term.
And they did, and you don't know who that person is, and we don't know what happened. So there's something to say about that. But I get it.
The same thing. It's the same thing. You will have to die.
Okay. Final thoughts on like pets as friends and companions and just overall relationships with pets.
Definitely think pets can be friends. Like literally the dog title is man's best friend.
Which I would love to, you know what? I want to know where that came from.
Probably somebody white. But anyway, I definitely think they can be friends. I think it is a very special kind of bond, especially because it's a bond that is, for the most part, purely based off of physical forms of communication. Of course, there's a little bit of verbalness in there, but for the most part, it's a lot of physical forms of communication, a lot of body language and stuff like that, which is just a little different than humans, where we can actually communicate to each other, like with words. Not gonna say everybody should have a pet. Not everybody should have a pet. Some of you bitches really can't even take care of yourself, so I'm not gonna say go out and run and get a pet. But I would say if you find the right pet and it's a good time in your life to get one and you're interested, I would say maybe foster a pet first just to see what it's like. Maybe foster for a few months to see if that's something you really want to take on, because it is a responsibility.
Can you explain what fostering is for people who don't know what it is?
Yeah, it's where you essentially, like, I like to use the word soft adopt something, where essentially you will be its caretaker for an X amount of time, either until that animal is able to find a permanent home, or you decide to make your home its permanent home. Of course, there are situations sometimes people will take them back to the pound because maybe it just didn't work out and they just didn't like it. But for example, I could foster cats in my house where, like, I would get a cat, I would take care of the cat, make sure it's loved on and all that stuff. And then one day little Susie Q might be like, oh, I want that cat. And then, I could probably pass the cat up to them. Definitely something is, one, it's nice because it takes a lot of pressure off of shelters to take care of animals, especially shelters that are overpacked, where they're like, listen, if you can foster this animal, like, you're doing us a really big favor, because, like, it's freeing up space for another animal that might need that space.
Yeah.
But it's also really helpful for the animal because, they're getting, a loving home, ideally a loving home to be in, and hopefully, learning to be better, well suited for the household. Moving from one household to another, I know can be very difficult for pets, but moving from a shelter to a household can also be way more difficult. So at least they're already kind of like familiar with the home setting and like what that might look like. So I've never fostered an animal before because I feel like I'll get way too attached to it and probably never want to give it up. But I do know plenty of people who do foster. I actually have a good friend of mine she fosters cats all the time, and she's found plenty of these cats homes. So if you're interested in getting a pet, and like I say, you're in a good place financially, mentally, emotionally to get one, I would definitely encourage you to consider the option again. I wouldn't just go head first into adopting an animal and then regretting it later. It can be very enriching. You can learn a lot about yourself and learn a lot about your relationships, and also learn a lot about how to just be like better in your actual human relationships too from having a pet. So yeah, get a pet.
I agree.
Or get a therapist. Either one.
Or get both.
Or both.
Well,
the therapist might recommend getting a pet.
They may. I feel like pets as friends, they just are just... There's a lot of like unconditional love that happens and companionship, and even though you don't speak the same language, it's just an unbreakable bond, and there's just this underlying understanding of like mutual beneficial tactics. Like you said, I feed you, you come and cuddle with me, whatever. I would like to have other pets eventually. Like, I actually do want to have like a farm one day, so goats and cows and horses and even penguins, but we'll see.
Penguins?
Yeah, I would actually like to have penguins one day.
I hope you live in the Arctic.
I'm gonna have somewhere where they will be in the proper climate. Let's say that.
Well, you have fun with your happy feet.
So
I'll stick to my cat.
All right. Well, we'll end with the quote of the day. Let me go. So I looked this quote up. I thought it was interesting. It says, "Such short little lives our pets have to spend with us, and they spend most of it waiting for us to come home each day." It's by John Gorgon, and he is the author of Marley and Me.
Come on, John Gorgon.
Well, that is another episode of the Friendship University. You know where to find us. You can find us on all platforms at Funny Podcast. That's FUNIPODCAST. You can also find us at friendshipuniversitypodcast@gmail.com. You'll find everything in the description box below. Maybe we'll try to find some, I don't know, adoption or like
just look at humane societies near
yeah,
you. That's the easiest thing.
Some links where you can just look up in your area where you could try to become a foster parent or an actual parent of pets, because we are advocates of that over here. So, any other words, Mickey?
Nope.
Nope. All right.